Welcome, Freddy Correa, to Antisocial Butterfly Podcast.
I appreciate you having me on your podcast.
Yay! If I had a soundbite, I would have claps going on right now.
That'd be funny if that was the name of my podcast. I appreciate you for having me on the podcast, on your podcast. I appreciate you. I appreciate the invite podcast.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to get you. Whoa, that sounded
Las
a
Vegas
little.
Raiders.
That sounded a little harsh on the ears when you yelled.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry
I think
we should let the listeners know that we're in the same building, different rooms.
So this is the first time for the listeners. We are trying not audio. It's video. We've been wanting to do
and audio.
Yeah, but we wanted to do video for a while, and finally we figured out how to do it. And
man, it took a while.
It took a while, but we found an amazing video. Well, you found an amazing video and sent it to me, and it was a super easy. We spent, I don't know, at least 30 minutes and at least 9 tries trying to figure out how we can both be on the same screen.
It stressed me out so bad that I had to go and heat up a White Castle burger from the.
You got nauseous from it?
Yeah, a frozen White Castle burger.
Even though we have breakfast that we ordered, but we wanted to record a podcast.
We want to record a podcast and then enjoy that, because we do it a little different. We ordered dessert too. We ordered stuffed French toast. When we order a waffle, we always eat the dessert first.
Yes. And what did we have?
The dessert first.
No, what did we eat? What was the dessert?
Oh, the stuffed French toast.
Well, what was it filled with? You're not describing it well. It had like this.
I feel like you're leading me into the question.
Well, I'm trying to have you describe what we ate, and it's full description. You're like, well, we just ate something, and it was just pancakes.
I said a stuffed French toast.
Strawberry stuffed, cream filled.
There you go.
French toast. You forgot the strawberry.
You wanted me to say cream filled. That's what you wanted me to say.
The strawberry.
You wanted me to say it's cream filled.
Yes, cream filled. There you go. And then you looked at me sideways when I was not eating anything, when I was not drinking coffee or hot chocolate. You wanted me to drink something hot with it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You got to enjoy it with coffee, something warm, hot cocoa. You got to enjoy that taste in your mouth, that cream-filled taste in your mouth, and then just embrace the hug.
Yeah, I like your process of thinking of how to keep warm with your food or how it makes you feel comfort. So my baby, thank you so much for being on here. I've been wanting to have you on here. We've had a swap cast a couple of times, most of the times, but really you on just being a guest here has been a long overdue. And so I'm thankful that you're here, finally.
Oh, yeah.
So you're wearing Las Vegas Raiders. I wanted to start actually with that.
Yeah.
That we are in the playoffs.
Yeah, we're in the playoffs, but it's bittersweet because we're recording this podcast 2 hours before the game. So we might not be in the playoffs. And I don't really like talking about sports on podcasts because when you look back, it's always topical. It's a current event. So it never applies to time period where you're listening to. But for now, Las Vegas Raiders, motherfucker, what's up?
I think you bring a good point that sometimes things talk about when you listen to it 2 years, 5 years later, they don't apply, or even months. But I think in this case, it's going to be a memorable thing that we can always look back on because number one, right? This is his first time going in the playoffs, so that if it's just this game, he made it to the playoffs, you could say once.
Yeah, you're right.
And then also the crazy year that they had, and they still made it to the playoffs.
It was
So
a crazy
that is
year,
memorable.
a crazy, amazing beginning too, because the beginning of the season, the Raiders were doing amazing. Um, they, I think this is the first season they've won three first games of the season in like 17, 16 years. For a team to win three games in a row, it seems like nothing. But for the Raiders, that's
Mm,
huge
yeah.
because the Raiders, they've sucked most of my life. Since I was a kid, the Raiders have sucked. But I've always stayed faithful. It's kind of like maybe being a Browns fan. People that love the Browns or even the Bengals who were playing today, they have been shitty teams. But this season, we started off so good. And I'm sorry I'm getting topical. In a week from now, this whole, unless you're a Raider fan or a historian, this might not matter, or it will matter. But I mean, we had John Gruden, a legendary coach. Okay, we had an amazing wide receiver, Henry Ruggs, and he got into trouble by getting a DUI and becoming a murderer and killing somebody near our house. This happened right by our house, pretty close to our house, without getting too descriptive. And um, you know, John Gruden, they found his emails and he said gay and some homophobic stuff, and um, he got canceled. He got canceled for some shit that he did in his past. So we lost our coach. We lost Henry Ruggs for being an idiot, and then the struggles we went through. You know, Darren Waller got injured. All kinds of stuff that we went through, and then finally we barely make it to the playoffs. And Derek Carr, John Madden died,
Oh
legendary
man,
coach for
yeah.
the
See,
Raiders.
it was just a crazy year, and yet they made it to the playoffs.
Yeah, Bob Saget died. Jesus,
Betty White
this is for
died.
you, Bob Saget. Yeah, this is for you, Betty White. So,
Yeah, it's I think it's still amazing for us to remember that because
mhm,
we don't know what's gonna happen, obviously, and we hope that a team only hopes for the best outcome. Like I
yeah,
like what Carr said in an interview. This is great and we made it to the playoffs, but I need to stay focused.
mhm,
And that's the prize of going to the Super Bowl.
mhm,
So I'm just trying to, like he says, just game by game. So this game,
yeah,
let's just focus on this game. And I even told you that I want them to win, obviously, this game out of all games, because I'm like, just make it one game in the playoffs.
mhm,
One game in the playoffs, and then you can lose the other ones.
yeah,
And I will still be proud of this year that they've got this far. It's almost like every year they get almost a little further and further closer to Super Bowl.
yeah.
And they had
We've been
their
getting a little
chances.
closer. I
Yeah.
mean, the last time we went to the playoffs was in 2016, and the last game before the playoffs, Derek Carr got injured. So he took us to the playoffs, but we didn't get to see Derek Carr in the playoffs. So technically, this is the first time Derek Carr is playing in it because he was in the sidelines just watching his team lose last
Mm-hmm.
time. And if we lose this time, it's okay, whatever happens. But never forget, who was the first team to ever win a Super Bowl as a wild card team? The Raiders.
The Raiders.
The Raiders. We were a wild card team. We went
Yes.
to we went to the playoffs as a wild card team, and I think it was 1980, 79, 79, 80 season. We went as a wild card and we pushed through and ended up winning the Super Bowl.
So anything is possible. You just gotta, if you have the opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
take
And
it and
and
wish for the best.
how crazy is it that we moved to Vegas back in 2012 when everybody thought the Earth was going to end? Remember the Mayan calendar and
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We moved to Vegas just because cost of living was lower and we wanted to start a new life in a new city. I got a new job, and then our favorite team ends up coming to Vegas. How crazy is that?
I still can't believe it. I don't know what's going to take for me to fully believe it. I think maybe just time, right?
Yeah.
The fact that we have the stadium here, I see it. I still look at it and I'm like, that is insane that it's here. I still get tripped out when I see the merch and it said merch. When I see the Raiders gear and it says Las Vegas, like that still, yeah, yours. That still trips me out. It doesn't say Oakland anymore. Oh, yeah. Yummy.
Whoa, that should be a clip. That's a gift right there.
That's gonna be the clip too for them to listen to the podcast.
For the audio listeners, I was shaking my titties.
Yeah, no, I think it's everything's crazy. The stuff that's been coming to Vegas, and I think that's why it's ever growing. And my fear, it's it becoming like a California may take
fuck California. I'm saying right now, fuck California. Fuck
we
California.
wanted to move to California.
Yeah.
We have friends that live in California. Hello.
I was born in California.
I'm like, please don't get the people mad that listen that are from there.
You know what? Fuck California taxes.
Okay, the
fuck
taxes.
The governor.
Yeah, the taxes.
Fuck the governor of Los Angeles. Fuck the governor of San Francisco. California, go fuck yourself. And Fresno, especially Fresno. Nothing ever good came out of Fresno.
That's where you were born, baby. You came good out of there. Something that was you.
Nothing ever good came out of Fresno.
Baby.
You know who's from Fresno? Kevin Federline.
And you.
Married a rich lady, had kids, and now
lady. Hello, who's the lady? Britney Spears. She's not just a lady.
Well, yeah, he married a rich lady, a crazy lady.
Okay.
And he got paid off. You
think Britney Spears is crazy?
Derek Carr. He used to play for the Bulldogs.
What does that have to do? Oh, I didn't know.
Fuck yeah.
See, there
California
you go.
All day, baby boy.
Wait, so is he from there, or is he from Fresno, or grew up there, or what?
No, but he played for Fresno State.
Oh,
yeah, for the Bulldogs. I think it's called
that.
Fresno State. I don't know, but yeah, you know what? I take it all back. I love California. Newport Beach. We went there last year for our honeymoon anniversary. I call it honeymoon.
It is. What was our honeymoon?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, anywhere you go after your wedding is a honeymoon, right?
Yeah. 16 years.
16.
We turned 16 years in August of 2021.
We're going on 17.
Yeah, we turned 16 though last year.
Yes. Our sweet 16.
So I don't just call it an anniversary. I call it a honeymoon anniversary. How about that?
Okay. I like that. My love. So I wanted to talk about Skankfest a few episodes back, 3 maybe, but I talked about my experience. I wanted to share the experience with you because we both were there and get your side of the story and how different this Skankfest was, because you've been to Skankfest. This was not your first time. This wasn't my first time either. It was my second one, but you have been to the one in New York twice. So this counts as your third time going. Can you explain, out of now all of the ones that you've been, what was something different that stuck out to you on this one with the Houston one that we recently went to?
It was like an open field as opposed to just one building stacked upon each other.
Oh, that's good too. Yeah, I like that.
So when we were at the Brooklyn Bazaar, it's a 3-story building. Well, it's a 2-story building, but they have a basement. And it's dope. You could go up and down, bounce around from different stages. But in Houston, it was an open field where you could like walk outside. They have a food truck, ice cream shop. They had the inflatable bull ride or whatever. And then they had a face painting section. It was like a fair, like a county fair. So to me, that was huge and it was different. And I think that's what they're going to pursue moving forward. And now do you prefer like that better? Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because now you're outside in an open space, and they had a tent, they had a boxing ring, And everybody's outside, everybody's out there. If you want to smoke, you can smoke. You don't have to like go to a section or you have to step outside the building. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, I think that's moving forward. I think that's the way they want to have it. It's like a fair, like a county fair.
Yeah, I the venue I least liked was the one in New York.
Hmm.
Well, I've only been to that one.
Well, yeah, I
But
mean, you've been to
I
it
can only
though, so
compare two. So, but
sure.
that venue,
I
I
mean,
think
there's
it's
only
just,
been three venues, so
yeah,
you're two out of three.
yeah.
It was that one, and before that was the Creek in the Cave, which was tiny.
Can you describe Skankfest to some people that may not know what it is in your version?
Yeah. So Skankfest is a festival. If you look at it like Coachella or EDC, where you go to see your your favorite famous performers, DJ artists, singers. Skankfest is the same idea except it's comics. So you go to see famous comics, up and coming comics, and you get to see a variety of podcasts, comedy, stand up comedy, um, and they mix it up with even boxing. There's comics boxing other comics, and it's all friendly. Nobody's mean to each other. Everybody has a good spirit. Like if somebody bumps into each other, like, "Oh, I'm sorry, bro," like nobody. Oh, you have a cigarette? Oh yeah, here you go, bro. Like everybody's like, "Cool. Oh, let me buy you a drink," and you get to hang out. Unlike Coachella or EDC, because I get it, they're superstars and people go crazy. They stay away from the fans. The
Hmm.
comics and Skankfest, they hang out with the fans. You
That
know,
is so cool. Yeah, I love how you brought that up. I don't that they hang out there
uh,
and they actually want to talk to them. I think
yeah,
it's different. I don't know. Do you think because podcast supporters, listeners, it's a different kind of relationship because you
yeah,
get to know them or know the person at a different level versus
yeah,
maybe a musician, a DJ, right?
yeah.
You don't have that, so maybe you
I
just
think
it's a different.
so.
I think that's different a little bit.
I think the difference is that you hit the nail on the head. The podcast part. When you listen to a podcast, you get to know the person you're listening to. They're in your ear. Um, I don't know, 2 hours out of a day, half hour every day, depending how many podcasts they put out, and you get to know them at a personal level, even though they don't know you. You know them. So when you get to do a pod and then you do a live podcast, it's totally different. And social media, the way it is, the world we live in now, you can reach out to these people and say, "Hey man, I love the podcast. Hey, thank you for putting out this episode. It changed my life. It did this to me. It helped me lose weight. It helped me stop drinking." I don't know. Like whatever your reason is to reaching out to someone. Like for example, Tony, my best friend Tony, he broke his left arm, uh 29 no 2020. He was skateboarding. He broke his arm right here.
I
Same
have
month.
that image
Tom
that
Segura.
I think you showed me with the
Yeah.
bone, but
Oh
almost
yeah,
like
yeah.
Tom's,
The
right? Like it
X-ray.
almost
Yeah.
looked the same.
So Tom Segura, the same month, he broke his arm by trying to dunk. He reached out to him and they exchanged messages. It's like, you see what I'm saying? It's a personal
Mm,
level. People that have podcasts, like you can reach out to people. So I think that's the difference between EDC or like Red Hot Chili Peppers, because these people are like out to outer space, like their star level is like literally out there and they're unreachable. But I
mm.
think with comics, depending on the star level, I guess, most comics will reach back and say, "Hey, what's up, man? Thank you, I appreciate that," or something. And then you get to see them face to face, and you could act like an idiot, and it is what it is. They're aware of it. They're like, "Oh yeah, some people are going to be super drunk, some people are going to be super high, and they're going to fan out." And they choose to be out there though. Some don't. Some of them
Yeah.
don't want to. I know after shows, I mean, I'm not even close to these comics at Skankfest, but I know after shows, sometimes I don't want to talk to the audience because sometimes I think the audience is shitty. But the difference with Skankfest is that everybody that's going there to see comedy, they're going to have a good time. Unlike somebody that's going to a comedy club and, oh, let's distract ourselves tonight. Let's see if these
Mm-hmm.
people can make me laugh. No, you're going to Skankfest to laugh. That's the difference.
Who did you approach at Skankfest? Or did you approach anybody that?
I'll tell you who I did not approach. How about that?
And I'll tell one that you did approach.
Okay.
For me, actually. That's a hint.
Yeah, you and me are the same. It's like I'm very. You and me are very much alike. We don't want to bother them. So having said all that, where you could come up to comics and all that, but like I saw Mark Norman, and I did not want to get near him. I saw Joe List. I did not want to get near him. Like I didn't want to bug them. But then again, when I had the chance, because we're like face to face, I went up to Bobby Kelly. I'm like, ah, and Dan Soder, you know, like
You did that? You went, ah.
yeah.
Really?
No, I mean, I went up to so many. That's why I'm saying the ones I didn't, because
No, I thought like you saw them, like you guys had a eye to eye connection, and you just thought the first thing that you did was ah.
well, no, in my head, that's what happened in my head.
Oh.
I just
Okay.
in my head, I jumped on him. I'm like, I love you, thank
Mm.
you. But it was cool. It's like we got to see Tony Hinchcliffe, and I'm like, hey man, what's up? How you been? And I'm like, can I take a picture? And he's like, oh yeah, and he took it for us. He did a selfie. He grabbed my phone and did a selfie. You know, got to hang out with Sam Tripoli. You know, when you see people that you've done shows with and you've hung out before or done podcasts with, like Brett Ernst, you know, we're hanging out with Brett Ernst, and he's like, hey Freddie, let's go get some drinks. I'm like, where? He's like, the green room, come with me. And I just follow him, and well, I snuck into the green room because I wasn't part of this Skankfest, but I walked in there with Brett Ernst from Cobra Kai. Who's gonna tell me no, you know?
Yeah.
We went into the cooler, we grabbed a bunch of seltzers, and he said, what's up to Louis? Louis shook his hand, he shook my hand, Louis J. Gomez. And then we walked out with like 5 or 6 seltzers. We brought them to Sammy, Stacy, George Perez. We're hanging out with George Perez. And before that, George Perez was giving me $100. He's like, hey, Freddie, want to get a drink? I'm like, sure. He's like, give me a drink too, and give me $100. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh my gosh.
But then Brett
Baller.
Ernst showed up. Yeah, I know. And then Brett Ernst showed up, and we stole some seltzers. Yeah.
There is a lady comic you approached. Do you remember who? For me, I was a fan
yes.
of hers.
Yeah.
I was a fan. I am a fan.
You're a huge fan of hers.
Yeah.
And you did not want to go up to her.
Yeah, Jessica. I never pronounce her name right. Kirsten.
Yeah, Kirsten.
I saw her several times walking around, and every time I would see her, you know, like I think just what you said, like, oh my god, I just want to run up to them and just say thank you for just existing, just thank you for being you.
What'd you say to her?
No, that's what I want to say. You know how you say when you want to run up to them, like anytime I see somebody like her, something that I admire, I want to just run up to them like a little kid and just hug them and just say thank you so much just for doing your thing and just being you and existing in the world. So I saw her a couple of times, and no, I was not gonna go up to her. Like you said, like for one, I'm shy. Secondly, I'm gonna act like a fool. Thirdly, whatever I'm gonna say as I'm prepping to come up to her probably is not what I'm gonna say, because I'm gonna go on like autopilot. Yeah. And then for me too, when what is that gonna do for me? I feel I'm gonna feel more like I'm gonna feel bad, like an idiot. Like, why did I do that? And for them, what is it gonna do for them? They hear that all the time, right? And maybe it does feel good for people to tell you and come up to you. I think don't stop doing that by no means. Yeah. But at a certain point, I feel like I want to add something more to that, not just say you're awesome, you're great.
Sound like
I want our first interaction to be something more than that. And if I don't have any interaction at all, because then that's cool. I mean, I can appreciate her from afar and support her. She doesn't need me going up to her for her.
But I'll tell you this, just to interject. Women don't get a lot of compliments from women as far as comedy goes, maybe from what I've seen. it's usually guys going up, oh, I love your podcast. But to hear from another girl, oh, I listen to podcasts, because it's a newer thing that women, more females, they're getting into podcasts, which is amazing. But in the beginning, it was just dudes. I mean, 2 years ago when I went to the first Skankfest, it was nothing but bros. It was like a sausage fest. That's what Skankfest was. The next year, you and Sammy came, and there was more girls. I think the first one I went to, there's probably like Stacy's wife, Sam, and two other girls, probably. Like it wasn't that many, but it's growing so much that like now also getting complimented from a girl, it's huge. So I get it. You were starstruck in a sense, but at the same time, you don't want to bug her. But I think she really appreciated it.
Yeah, so you stopped her one time.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, go up to her. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And then you did it. You're like, Jessica, she's a great, you're one of your biggest fans, I think you said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I said, she's too shy to say it.
Oh yeah. She's just, yeah. And then she's like, oh, wow, thank you so much.
And again, that's another person you've inboxed before.
Oh yeah. And she's inboxed me back. Right.
Yeah.
I tagged her. She was in the podcast, one that I listen to religiously every week, Trash Tuesday.
Hell yeah.
Wait, was she on
who's
there?
the host?
Yeah, I don't remember. But anyway, I tagged her somewhere.
No, I think she was on Bobby Lee's podcast, no?
Yes, I forget. I don't think she was on Trash Tuesday. Now that I was thinking about it, I don't remember.
Who's on Trash Tuesdays though?
Who's the host? Letterman? Okay, thank you for bringing that up, because on another episode when I brought up Skankfest, because I was trying to see Annie, I called her Andy. I almost did it again too. I don't know why I want to call her Andy Letterman, but her name was Annie. So yes, guys, sorry, I did mispronounce her name. So Annie Letterman, and then Kalila, I don't know her last name, but Bobby Lee's girlfriend, and Esther, she's a comedian as well. So and there I go again. And Annie and Esther, they've known each other for a long time, apparently, in the comedy world scene. And because Bobby Lee is a comic too, that's how Kalila got to know them. But they have a great podcast together.
Yeah.
I love
and Kalila, even though a lot of people might be like, oh, who is she? Oh, Bobby Lee's girlfriend. No, she's an amazing. Bobby Lee is Kalila's girlfriend. How about that?
She would love to hear that. Right.
No
You're right.
disrespect to Bobby Lee, but like she is powerful and she is like an amazing host.
Oh, well, Bobby Lee credits her because he kind of he even says it himself, like he faded out and he didn't know what to do next. And so then she said, let's just do a podcast.
We were all cheering for Bobby Lee to have a podcast because he's so funny and he's amazing. I mean, ever since I saw him on Mad TV, to me, he was a star. He was the star. Him and Johnny Sanchez, like him and Johnny Sanchez just stuck out to me. I know there's other stars on there, but to me, I was like, Bobby Lee is amazing. And when you see Bobby Lee perform also, it's like, why do you not have a podcast? And I'm so happy he did start this podcast, and what a perfect match, him and Kalila,
I love their podcast. Okay, there we go. They have their own podcast, Kalila, for years now, because I recently got into Tiger Belly, I would say this year. And I have binged on old episodes because they bring in a guest this year, right? And then I type that guest's name in YouTube, and then like old videos that 2 years ago, 4 years ago, that they did with Bobby Lee and Kalila. And it's not just Bobby Lee's podcast. Like she's the main, like it's like half and half. Like he talks to her, like she's the one carrying the questions. She asks great questions. So just going back to Trash Tuesday, I love that you mentioned that there's more podcasts now. I think when the world, shut down 2 years ago with the pandemic, I really think that's when podcasts blew up, to be honest with you. Everyone started a podcast there. Makeup artists that I follow.
Good point. Yeah, good point.
Like even DJs were doing their own podcast. Like because they couldn't
even
do their
people,
thing. They're like, we need to still connect.
even people that had a podcast already, a successful podcast, they started a second one, like a spin-off.
Yeah.
Like Mark Norman, he started a podcast with Sam Morril, We Might Be Drunk. And then Joe List and Mark Norman, they have a successful Tuesdays with Stories. And then Joe List starts a podcast with Ronan, and it's called they do movie reviews. I think it's just called Ronan and Joe List or something.
Yeah.
But a bunch of people started a second podcast, third podcast, you know.
I think it's great that the more that you can try to connect with somebody, especially it's like through podcasting. I always dreamt and thought, wouldn't it be cool if makeup artists had a podcast? Because before it really was mainly comics that had podcasts, or just, you know, who else really? I mean, mainly I think comics ruled the podcast world before, but now it's almost, you know, everybody
it's
has
blown
one.
up. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, I'm glad there's no hate on anybody for having a podcast. Like, the more people have podcasts, the better the world is, I think, because people are more real without editing. Let's talk about that podcast that edit so much. Like, if you want to edit like a section of the audio because it was shitty, the audio, but like, there's some podcasts that I as soon as I hear an edit, like, you hear a conversation and laughter and then it cuts off to another question, I'm like, oh no, I don't want to watch a TV production. I want to watch a podcast unedited, you know. And like, let's talk about the day I got too hungover. Saturday
At Skankfest,
where you're like, all right, babe, you're gonna stay in, I'm out.
oh, there you go. You muted yourself there for a bit. Yeah, you're back.
I should have put this on or do not disturb. Hold on. Do not disturb.
There's a good view of your beard here.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
There we go.
Your trim beard that you did. Huh?
Oh yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Don't you hate spam phone calls? Everybody's getting them. If you get a spam phone call, just know you're not alone. We all get them.
Yeah, and especially I think you pull up your credit or run your credit, somehow they get alerted that you're trying to shop for something or do something. So now it's like, oh, let's
you start getting letters you start getting letters, offers for refinance, or you get random texts from, hi, this is Geraldine, and I would like to put an offer on your home. I'm like, bitch, who the fuck are you? Why are you texting me? Block.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
the day you got hungover.
I mean, let's talk about the setting, right? Skankfest has Thursday is the pre-party. If you buy the pre-sale, you get to go to the pre-party, the kickoff party. Then Friday, Saturday, Sunday is the whole festival. I mean, 2 days into it, I'm like, I'm out. I drank too much. I was hanging out with Brett Ernst, Steve Renazizi. I had too much to drink. I just had to rest. And the next day, you're looking at the schedule. I'm like, I'm not going to miss out Miss Pat. So you took an Uber and you went to Skankfest by yourself.
Yeah, and, I talked about
about that. How was that?
Well, I did talk. I shared my drive there, how I left my badge and I had to go back to get it, which was
well. So you get up and tell the story again.
Okay, so yeah, I'm looking at the schedule. I see Miss Pat is gonna come on at a certain time, and I look at you. I'm like, he's not gonna get up in time. Like, no way. He's gonna sleep. So I go and I'm rushing to get ready, and of course I forget the most important thing, and I'm like, no. And of course I'm like, maybe they're gonna be nice.
You know, and I even put him like in clear view on the door.
I don't know.
I'm like
that's the thing you need for the one thing that to not forget it that I need, right? Like, so I had to go back, but luckily I left early enough.
Did you
Oh,
go up to the security and try to go through, and they stopped you, or how did it go?
yeah. I mean, there was a lady there who I had seen previously, and so I'm like, oh, okay, it's a girl, so hopefully she's gonna be cool enough to say, oh, don't worry, your friends are coming in an hour, they're gonna bring your badge. I see
Mm-hmm.
you. But no, it did not happen. She's like, I needed a badge to get in. I kind of
Yeah.
just said, oh, hi. I'm like, yeah, I was looking at my phone, like
I
I
think if
left
you
my
would have just walked
badge.
in and pretend you knew what you were doing, just walk in like a boss, they would have
I
not
no,
said
I didn't
anything.
have the confidence to do it. I'm like,
They would have not.
no,
They would
I
have
would have.
not even said anything.
Just the fear of them maybe saying I get kicked out. Like, what are you doing? Or like, hey, where's your badge? I'm like, I don't know. I was just playing it out in my head. I didn't want to go through with that. So I just said,
Yeah.
let me just go back, teach myself a lesson,
Mm-hmm.
and deal with it that way. So I did. Then I got in. I make it, but I was sharing that I thought I was gonna watch like her perform comedy, and then
Oh, Miss Pat.
yeah, for Miss Pat show.
You
And
didn't
so
know it was
then
a
her
podcast.
podcast. Yeah.
Ah,
I didn't know she had a podcast. So I felt like the biggest hypocrite of a fan, right? Because I'm like,
yeah,
what? Where have I been? Apparently. But it was
yeah.
the best, I think, experience for me because I didn't expect it.
Well,
And
what's cool is that you became a fan of Miss Pat from watching her on podcasts, and like Ari's when we went to Newport, we're playing her on the background, and we're just laughing, cracking up, just the way she talks to Ari Shafir. Ari Shafir is the first person to kind of introduce her into the
mhm.
podcast world. And
Ori,
Ori,
how
you
she
got the
says her
curly
name.
fries. Why did you have the curly fries on the sideburns? Sideburns.
The curly
Um,
fries.
and then you hear her on Tiger Belly, right? Is that she was on Joey
Oh yeah,
Diaz?
she uh-huh.
And we saw her perform. We saw her record the special at the Netflix special here in downtown, where Skankfest is going to be on Fremont.
Oh,
Um,
breaking news.
yeah,
That's not breaking news, but
Vegas,
for
Las
people who don't know,
Vegas.
it's
Yeah,
coming to Vegas this year.
yeah, yeah. We're gonna have Skankfest in Vegas, and we got to see Miss Pat there. So you have been a fan for a while, but then you find out, oh, she has her own podcast. She just came out with her new show on BET, and then
Honestly,
you
that
show up.
episode, you have to listen to it, babe. That
Mm,
one, if she released it on Skankfest, it is hilarious. Hilarious.
yeah.
Because her daughter
Uh-huh.
is gay
Uh-huh.
and she's in the audience. And she mentions something about how she has sex, like her co-host does. And
Uh-huh.
he's like, why would you ask that? I'm her mom, like to the host. And the daughter's like, no, I'll answer. And so the daughter gets from the audience to the stage and has the mic. And now her and Miss Pat are like going back and forth. And I'm like, oh my God, this is gold right here to see a mother and
Yeah.
daughter. And then the daughter's like acting like Miss Pat, like having that attitude, like, don't talk to me
Yeah.
that way kind of thing. And I'm like, this is crazy. Remember we saw her too,
Yeah.
ordering food. And then
We saw her 3 times ordering food.
we made up a song for her.
every yeah.
Miss
every time
Pat
we every
sitting
time we
in the middle of the street.
every time we saw Miss Pat, we were eating too. So I
We
wasn't
had
trying
the
to do like a
same
fat joke.
appetite
No,
schedule.
yeah. Every time we would go to the food truck, she was walking to a food truck. So then I think twice out of the three, somebody brought her a chair and she was just sitting in the middle of the street because the street was all blocked off, you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
Um, for the listeners to get a visual, it was like a street with food trucks all blocked off, but then somebody brought her a chair and she's just sitting in the middle of the street.
Right in the middle where people are walking through.
Yeah, and she's eating her crab ragoon, I don't know,
Like a
sandwich
boss.
or hoagie or Texas hoagie or whatever. She's just eating it there, just talking to her producer, her co-host, or whoever. And people are coming up sometimes and bugging her, and we're just like on the side, just watching her, like, yeah, that's Miss Pat. And I just felt proud that we were not bugging her, but we made up
Yeah.
that song, Miss Pat, in the middle of the
Oh,
street,
in the middle is
Miss
Miss
Pat.
Pat. Miss Pat, she's a badass. Yes, Miss Pat,
Miss
you
Pat.
can do what you want, Miss Pat.
Miss Pat. Here's to
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, I was gonna tell you, I was gonna cheers to Miss Pat. Look, I haven't taken my shot yet.
Let's do a shot.
Cheers.
So does it tell you how much we've been recording?
It does not tell me. So that's the only thing. So we could be just mindful. Me too, baby. This is awesome. Maybe we could keep mindful of time, just record maybe just 30 minutes more. Okay. So going back to Skankfest, where you mentioned that it's coming to Vegas. And we don't know the venue yet, maybe, but are you gonna want to go to Skankfest this year?
Yeah, well, we know it's on Fremont, and in case we don't have any other plans, I mean that's the main plan. I mean, if something was to come up, if anything, that's what we're rooting for. We're like, okay, do Skankfest, and we'll probably get a Airbnb somewhere nearby with some friends, and if not, then we'll just Uber it. It depends. But I know we have several friends coming into town for that. So,
our Skankfest crew, right? We have a Skankfest crew going on. Got Sammy, and Sam and Stacy, and Christian. Now, if he comes to this Vegas one.
Well, he's not coming to Vegas unless we go to visit him first.
I know. So I was gonna say that. I think he's not coming.
We gotta go to Seattle.
We have to go to. Hey, maybe when we go to this Seattle, year.
We can meet up with Grumzilla, his wife, and the whole Flashback with the Homies crew.
Oh, there you go. We should go. I've been wanting to go.
Lisa's like over the border on Vancouver.
Oh yeah, because it's really close.
So how about we do that? A little
a podcast tour.
Podcast network, yeah.
Yeah. Reunion. Like that'd a podcast. Cool. That'd be cool.
We can meet in Seattle, which is right in the middle. So because Grumzilla, he's in Oregon, so he's in the south. Elisa's in the north, and then boom, we meet in Seattle at the Space Needle.
I would like to do that.
Yeah.
And take Cutie.
Yeah.
La Cutie.
La Cutie.
La Cutie. Mi cutie from El Pasito.
Oh yeah, from El Paso, Texas. We should have taken Cutie. If we had the bag that you carry now, we could have carried her at Skankfest.
Oh, baby. That would, yeah, I would have. I would have taken her. I would have taken her. Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. 1,000 times. Yes.
I took a camera to the Airbnb, and we were just watching her. I would check in on her.
Yeah. She kind of went to Skankfest. Well, she went with us to the Airbnb and chilled with the Skankfest crew. Yeah. But no, you got me this pouch bag. It goes around your shoulder, and you go. Cutie fits right in there perfectly.
Like a little kangaroo, you just carry her right here.
I'm a kangaroo mom. Yeah. I feel like a kangaroo mom carrying her.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your experience with Skankfest, baby. Is there a comic that you, or like a show that you watch, like a podcast where you absolutely like laughed your eyeballs off?
Oh, it's
or a memorable one?
Yeah. One of my favorite parts of Skankfest was the roast of Louis J. Gomez. It was amazing. Obviously, again, Joe List killed it. To me, Joe List and Tony Hinchcliffe, they brought the jokes. And knowing Tony Hinchcliffe, Tony is a roaster. He used to write for the Jeff Ross roast, and he was part of the whole roast battle scene in LA at the Comedy Store. So
he was good. Tony, he was great at the roast.
At the roast, everybody's friends, but they attacked Tony, and Tony came in with a fist of fury.
Part of a roast concept is you have one person that you're gonna, for sure, everyone's gonna roast, but then you also have to roast the other comics who are in line to roast the main comic.
Right.
So it's a lot. Like I truly understand a little bit maybe why people have writers, because that is a lot to like think of, like, and
And
to
it's
know about, research somebody. So it's like I can
and
understand why
it's
people
okay.
shouldn't have writers.
Right. And it's okay to have writers. I mean, it's a roast. It's like at the same time, it's not like you're trying to go for the lowest low, the low
Mm-hmm.
blows. There's no rules in a roast. And it's one of those things like, why would I just invest my whole time into writing these jokes when I could be focusing on my act, right? When this is just a one and done. I'm not going to use these jokes again. So it's great. It's okay to have writers. There's some people that hate on that. It's like, no, it's a roast. Um, but I'll tell you this, Tony Hinchcliffe, he is the writer. He writes his shit.
Oh yeah, no, I truly believe because he
He's on
has
the
his
spot
own
too.
podcast called Kill
Yeah.
Tony, right?
Yeah. And you see him
And
just on the spot.
that's him. What you saw, like
Mhm.
what I saw on stage, that roast, I'm like, that's him every week. Like his
And we're
brain is
gonna see
already used
Tony
to that.
Hinchcliffe.
I was gonna tell you that. So he's coming in January. So we're in
Yes.
January, but next week to
January,
Wise Guys in Las Vegas.
yeah.
I think it's your
21st and
mom's birthday,
22nd.
the eve of your mom's birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Mom. Tony Hinchcliffe. Boom.
I like how he was dressed. Remember, we took a picture with him. He was nice. He
Oh
was
yeah.
all like with the white cowboy
Tony
hat,
is,
white suit, white pants,
yeah.
white everything. I'm like, white?
Yeah.
Like that's gonna get
White
dirty.
on white on white.
But he looked good. I'm like, dang, I want to copy that look.
Tony
I should have done
Hinchcliffe
that.
in Vegas at Wise Guys.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
No, we definitely have to do it and go and buy the tickets after this episode.
After this episode, we're buying tickets for Tony Hinchcliffe.
We're buying tickets to Tony Hinchcliffe. Yes. So also I wanted to ask you on with Skankfest, you mentioned that those were your top 3 comics, but I wanted to share about an experience, one that I felt really awkward to go to, and I was absolutely saying, I don't want to go, I'll wait for you outside. But all the Skankfest crew was like, no, we wanted to go. And I'm like, So I don't know why I'm very like, I know why. I don't like to be a part of it. I don't know. So tell me, you know which one I'm talking about, which show I did not want to be in, right?
Oh.
Or see, not be in. I didn't want to watch it.
The naked roast battle.
So, okay, guys, there is a naked roast battle, not just and they're fully no clothes. The guys, the Johnson, the titties, all out there.
I never heard you call it the Johnson.
And I told you that one time, and you're like,
that's kind of
I don't
hot.
think. Oh wow, okay.
Want to see my Johnson?
All the time. Whoa. Calm down.
Christian, babe.
So yeah, I just was very uncomfortable watching that, but you guys obviously got front row seats once, so wanted to sit right there in the front.
I'll tell you right now on the podcast, you felt, what the vibe I got from you? You were so Christian.
Wow.
You were so Christian. You're like a non-denominational Christian. No, I don't want to see this. I cannot. And I'm like, babe, come on, it's cool.
I didn't say I cannot. I said I will not. I can't.
You broke away from the flock. You're like, no.
Yeah, I'm like, no, this is not.
I think you were in the back listening to
I
it.
don't. We
didn't
can
want to watch any
dissect
body
as
parts.
to. Yeah, we can dissect and at a later time as to the real hardcore why. But overall, it just didn't feel good inside.
Nothing but penises.
It just didn't feel good inside for me. It wasn't serving any positive way for me. Okay, it was draining my energy. How about that? When I think of stuff now, is it giving me energy or is it draining my energy? When I was there, it was like all these little insects were sucking every part of blood of energy out of me.
Speaking of insects, the penises that we got to
How did you go from insects to penises?
Because they were very small. The penises
I don't know. I didn't see.
Some of them were like tiny. They were like barely sticking out. Nothing but like head popping out. It was just like a bush and then just a little head. It was just like, I'm so proud of myself, you know? Like it made me feel really good. Like my 1 inch,
Humble
my 1
brag.
inch, my 1 inch penis. Everybody that walked out was like, I feel so good about myself. Seriously, even the women were like, my clit is bigger than that.
How do you
Like,
know?
because I heard everybody was talking about it. Like, babe,
They were saying it? Like, what were they saying?
everybody was making fun of the comics that went
What
up.
were they
Like,
saying?
that the penises were so small. There was one guy with a long one. It was like longer
That's
than
the
the
one you made
screen.
friends with?
Yeah, I sucked it.
Remember you and Sammy?
Oh yeah, yeah.
What? You
No, no,
sucked his
no, no,
dick?
no, no. The one we made friends with was the little one. It was a black dude,
Oh,
and he had a
okay. I hope he doesn't
tiny
hear
one.
this.
No,
He
he's
won't.
cool about it. No, he's cool about it. He knows. I mean, he was on a naked roast. But babe, his penis was tiny. As soon as he walked out, everybody was like, "What? A black guy with a small penis?" It was like a belly button.
Wow.
All right, we'll be right back.
Yeah, so I was escaping. I went to the corner is what I
Yeah,
did. So
yeah,
I
you
was
did.
still it was funny because people were standing up. You guys were got good seats where you guys were sitting
Oh yeah.
down, second, third row
Thanks,
almost, I think.
thanks to Stacy and Sam. Shout out to them because they waited in line. Let me grab another beer, but they waited in line. You know.
Yeah, they waited in line and got good seats. And I said, no, no, no. I'm going to go way in the back where I can hardly, I wanted to go far in the back, so far in the back where I can only see their shoulders up. I didn't want to see anything neck down.
Yeah. One thing, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Do I sound far away?
No, you sound good.
Oh, cool. I'm in the kitchen right now.
Maybe because are you using your earbuds?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, you sound
Um,
good.
well, one thing I didn't like about, I'll tell you the one thing I didn't like about Skankfest. Are
Oh,
you ready
yeah.
for this?
Yeah, I am.
You know I like to pee. I pee a lot.
The bathrooms were too far?
Yeah. No, they have porta potties. That part's cool. But I didn't like that if you leave a venue, you have to go back through the other entrance.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. That part was not cool.
They almost not, I think it was Kill Tony. They almost didn't let me back in because I went to a restroom, even though the security guy, he said, "Oh yeah, just let him know that Jake told you could go come back in." And then I came back and I'm like, Jake went on break. I don't know what we're talking about. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's so like okay. So what you're saying is I can't come in because someone went to break.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah,
the
that
guy
part
went on break.
I didn't appreciate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember
That
we
part
tried
sucked.
remember we tried to get into a show though and we tried to play it like we were in there.
Oh, we snuck in.
No. There was another time we were trying to get into I think it was another Kill Tony show and we pretended that we were in there. We tried to like because
Oh
and
yeah.
the lady's like, I don't remember you guys exiting. We're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay, then we'll awkwardly walk away.
Yeah. But we did figure out another way to sneak into the podcast room, the room where they
Oh
had all the
yeah, so we
podcasts.
said F you, and I figured out there was like a door you can go in that connected.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll have security at the door next time, but there was two venues. The box, there was one room called the box where they had stand up, and then another room where they had the podcast room, and we snuck into Bobby Kelly's podcast. Um, I don't know, you name it. All the podcasts that we wanted to go into, we would go in through the box, and there was restrooms in between, and then we would sneak in through there. And we stole some posters, by the way.
Christian,
We
the
stole.
homie, I
He
still have
stole.
mine.
Well, they stole Christian or Sammy. They stole Jeremiah Watkins poster for me, and then I went up to Jeremiah and I gave it to him, and then we took a picture. Oh, he put me on his documentary, by the way.
Oh yeah, you pop up in there. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
he did a documentary about Skankfest.
And there's Freddy in there.
Right in the
He's the one who
beginning,
told you. Wasn't he the one who told you that you're in it?
he told me. Yeah, he tagged me. He's like, Hey, Freddy, there's a shot of us on the beginning, and it's a great documentary. It's so cool. Everything we're talking about right now, this is our perspective, and then go watch Jeremiah Watkins
Oh, there you go. Good one,
documentary,
baby.
and you could see the
There
visual.
you go.
Look
Good
up
job.
Jeremiah Watkins Skankfest documentary. It's amazing.
Yeah,
And check out the
baby.
specials. He's an amazing. To me, Jeremiah Watkins, and I told him face to face, and I said, I don't mean any disrespect, but to me, you're the next Jim Carrey. And I don't know how that would be disrespectful, but I don't like comparing people to anybody. But to me, he's Jeremiah. When you see Jeremiah Watkins on stage, you'll see what I'm talking about. He is like, he morphs. He could do this, he could do that, he could do voices, he could do comedy, he could do hecklers. Boom, boom. Oh, you're heckling me? He makes the heckler part of the show. He's what everybody wants to be. And I think he is going to be huge. Jeremiah Watkins. I said it right now. 2022. Let's go.
Now I understand how people could take what you when they compare somebody, because they're just like, no, I'm trying to do my own thing. I don't.
Right.
But knowing you and where it's coming from, I don't think that he took it that the wrong way, because sometimes, to be compared by, especially Jim Carrey, it's not like you were comparing him to a C-lister comic.
No.
Jim Carrey is like way up there.
I'm comparing to somebody out into the out of the stretchers, like, but to me, Jeremiah is going to be huge. It's going to be way bigger. Like, he's super talented. He's amazing.
Yeah, he's a great guy too. Very nice guy.
Oh yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, super nice guy.
Yeah.
The best.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, baby, I wanted to talk about maybe the movie Soho that we watched too, going from Skankfest from that, but I don't know if we want to take more time.
We'll do another podcast.
We'll do another podcast. This is not the last. Not our.
I love your background. That's cool.
Yeah, so that's why I had this background of Soho, because we recently watched. There you go. We will. What's to come? That is what's to come. If you want to watch it, now that I said it, and then catch the next one of the review, because usually we watch it, and some of you guys may have not seen the movie, so there's a little preview for you guys to go ahead and watch it. It's a great movie. Remind me, is it on Netflix?
No. Right now, it's one of those movies where you could buy.
Oh, okay.
Which we bought.
Yeah, I forget how we streamed it, but the link reminds me where we got it from. So, huh?
I don't know.
But would you at least, can you describe what kind of movie it is? Like is it?
Oh.
The type of movie, not the plot, but what type of movie it is.
Well, a little bit.
Is it a suspenseful comic, like all that? Like what category does it fall in?
It's definitely. I wasn't expecting suspense. I was just expecting like science fiction, but it's definitely like a science fiction time travel type of movie about a girl that's trying to make it in a big city.
There you go.
That's what it's all about. It's good. It's really good.
We
did a
Soho,
great review on Red Rocket.
Yes, we did. I got a lot of great feedback from that movie review.
Go check
People want more movie reviews, so we will bring you Soho movie review.
Yeah.
Okay,
baby. And then we're gonna go watch Licorice Pizza.
Oh yes, so we were supposed to watch that yesterday for date night, but we decided to go to the comedy club because major news: the comedy club in the Stratosphere, that LA Comedy Club, they're moving to still in the Strat, but they're moving to a bigger location, new venue.
Yeah. Yep.
We saw it yesterday and it was amazing, right?
It's amazing
to see the growth of LA Comedy Club, because we've seen them when they were at Bally's.
Oh yeah.
Right? We've seen them when they were at Bally's. Well, that wasn't their venue though.
Before that, we saw them when we first went to LA Comedy Club in 2012. When we moved to Vegas, they were at Cabo Wobble.
You're right.
They were
Yes, you're
upstairs
right.
from a restaurant.
That's where we saw Edwin.
Yeah, we saw Edwin for the first time, and Gabe Lopez and Booyah, Ricky Byrne, and we're sitting in the front row, and they were just like putting up these chairs in front of this little stage up front, and that was the very first time. But before that, they have been in different venues, different places, and they are the longest running comedy club in Las Vegas, LA Comedy Club, a staple in Las Vegas.
Yes. So now moving to this venue that we saw yesterday. Wow, what an upgrade. It's super accessible now. You don't have to travel or walk so far to get to the comedy club. It's right in the heart of the everything, the entertainment, the casinos, the machines, that is exciting.
Club. It's the most beautiful club.
Well, we didn't want to miss the last weekend, I guess, that we because we're gonna miss the old club. Of course, we have memories there.
Yeah,
we wanted, instead of date night, to go to the comedy club yesterday and experience our last Friday there, because that's usually our Friday thing to do.
Yeah, we had to break our date night and say, you know what, we're gonna spend it with our family, and it was a beautiful thing. It was beautiful to see them. We took Cutie, Butch Bradley brought his dog, which was crazy.
My goodness, he's so cute. He reminded me, I don't know why, of Chico. His eyes, his calmness, even though he was a
smelling
big
cutie. He's a big giant Doberman. No, he's a Doberman.
No, I say Dane like he looks like a Great Dane, like the body, the structure, like the composition. He's like so big huge. And slim, and
he's huge.
But you're right, he's a Doberman.
Here's our little cutie, and they're just smelling each other. He's all like licking her, and it was so cool. But so we were gonna watch Licorice Pizza. Well, that's another movie we're gonna review.
Yes. So 2 movies in line.
Yeah.
So, baby, where can all my listeners, if they don't follow you yet, what are you doing? But if they don't know where to find you, where can they find you?
Follow me on Instagram, Fred Recker, FredReker, and or go to freddycorrea.com, and you can find all my social media on there.
And you have a podcast, Antisocial Butterfly, got inspired from this wonderful podcast. And thanks for the invite. Make sure you check that out.
Thanks for bringing that up. That's my new podcast. Thanks for bringing that up, podcast. Thanks for bringing my podcast is our podcast, which we have been recording. We've had so many guests. You could look it up on Stitcher, anywhere you listen to podcasts, you could listen to the audio. And at the same time, if you come to Vegas, add me on social media and send me a message. I want to get you to come out to a show. Even if I'm not performing, I want to come out to LA Comedy Club. We want to get you in there and go see the show. Or
if you feel more comfortable, reach out to me and I can let him know. We will get you in.
How many people do that? How many people say, come to my city and I'll get you the club?
Free show?
No, we're doing that. Yeah. I'm doing that here. So reach out to me. I'm going to get you in the club and we might go hang out. How about that?
Baby, can I just say you're awesome, because you have inspired a lot of podcasts through yours.
You're awesome.
Just mine. Not just mine. You've inspired Alisa to do her podcast, Bombtastic Podcast. Your friends through the network, they've reached out to you. I don't know who directly has reached out to you, but I know in the network, there's been friends that have reached out to you and they've been inspired to create their own.
We inspire each other. That's what it's all about.
That's what life is all about, for sure.
Right. We inspire each other and then we get to help each other grow. That's what it's all about.
But I just want to say thank you for being that light, because you don't have your ring light right here. You don't have to do that to people, right? Like, you don't have to inspire them. You could be look it up yourself, or like, get out of here kind of thing. And you're wasting my time even, but you
who says that? That's gross. You're wasting my time. Fuck you.
I don't Not that they say that, but in a sense is like, or they can do that with no reply. Sometimes people reach out to somebody and they don't reply back. That in a sense is already
Right,
saying
but at
something.
the same time, a no reply means it's better than not replying with something. No,
True.
like
No,
I'm
no,
sorry,
true.
I'm trying to downplay what you're saying. I know.
Okay, yes. Can you let me just say something?
I don't like
Just take a
compliments. It's okay.
compliment. I know I'm that way
No.
too. Just take a compliment. You need to learn,
Okay.
be better at taking a
What is this?
compliment.
The last podcast? Jesus.
No, baby. It's just it just came to I just wanted to close with that. Can I just close with I'm feeling gratitude, grateful just for you, because I'm happy we're doing this video too. This has been great, and this is all has number one stemmed
We're gonna do more.
from Thanks for the Invite podcast. Okay.
Fuck
Yes,
yeah.
maybe eventually I would have started one. Who knows if I would have. I honestly don't believe I would have, because no, you really were the one. You were already doing it. I was seeing, you doing it and having these great conversations and connections.
Well,
And
that's the thing. Like, I got inspired by others. I remember Kyle George in Reno when we were doing open mics back in 2011. He invited me to be on his podcast, and it was a circle of like 6 guys, all with microphones. And I'm like, oh, that's how you do it, And then actually before that, it was Alyssa Cowan, another very funny comic, Kyle George as well. But like, she invited me to be on her podcast with her sister in Reno. Holy shit, I just remember that with Patrick.
I remember that, yeah.
And they had a microphone just in the middle.
But that was not for a podcast, was it?
Yeah.
It was just for, was it for podcasting?
No, yeah. It was my very first podcast with Alyssa Cowan. So I'm like, oh, that's when it hit me. I'm like, all you need is a microphone in the middle. So that's what it's all about, inspiring each other. So like, we listen to other people, you make friends with other people, and you get inspired. And I'm like, oh, that's what you got to do. So that's what put it in my head. I want to start a podcast, because I was already listening to Joey Diaz, and Lisa I, and like, I'm like, I want to start a podcast. And then remember, before moving from Reno, I already had a mindset. I even put it on Facebook. I'm like, hey guys, I want to start a podcast, and I think I was going to name it Master Debaters. Do you remember
I don't
that?
remember that. No.
Yeah, and then somebody said, "Oh no, there's already a Masturbators podcast or show or something." I'm like, "Oh fuck!" So then you helped me with the name. Thanks for the invite, because I always say that to people.
Yeah.
Thanks for the invite, bro. Yeah.
Are you going to announce? Maybe I'm forcing you to announce, but you could say no. They could say it's coming, or maybe look out for another project that you're diving into.
Two.
You want to wait to say it?
How about 2 projects?
You want to wait to announce that one?
Let's go right now.
Put it out there, baby.
2 projects I'm announcing.
Okay. Wow.
Possible project with another comic who you heard here on the podcast several times on Thanks for the Invite. We might be starting a once a month podcast. It might be just like a short time series. We'll see. Or we're just going to discuss our journey. And I don't want to announce the name of it yet, but we came up with that name that we feel comfortable. So that's going to be one that I'm looking forward to. I don't want to say the name of the comic yet. So that's a little announcement.
More to come. Yeah.
Yeah, more to come. Now, the second one is more descriptive. It's going to be a Spanish podcast.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm going to start a Spanish podcast.
¿Qué?
What's up, bro?
¿Cómo?
Aquí lo escuchaste tú primero. Vamos, what? I can't even speak Spanish. I don't even know once, but I'm starting a Spanish podcast. It's going to help my Spanish, and it's going to help me connect with amazing people in the Spanish podcast world, because I've been listening to Spanish podcasts, and I can't wait. I just can't wait.
I'm excited for that for you, baby.
So you know me, I listen to a lot of podcasts. My podcast listenership, like the what I listen to used to be English 100%. Right now, we're like at 60-40. 40% Spanish right now.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And it's growing. Sam Butler, my friend, my amazing friend and brother, he has an amazing podcast called The Shit and Está Cagado. And he interviews people, and well, he does the interview. He talks about subjects for like 10 to 15 minutes, and then that's it. And it's in Spanish and in English. So he inspired me.
I love it. I'm very excited for you to start that.
Gracias por la invitación, podcast.
Oh, yo no quiero hablar español porque me pongo nerviosa.
Gracias.
Gracias y adiós.
Pero te voy a decir que no tengas miedo. En
No,
Chavo
sí
101,
tengo mucho miedo. Quiero ser
I
pupú.
Chavo,
Quiero ser pupú.
Chavo 101, he does his podcast in Spanish, so I'm definitely going to have him on the podcast, and he's going to.
Yeah, when I had Irma on, we
there you go.
We announced his his podcast that he still has it, and it's I think El Chavo Show, if I remember.
Chavo 101.
Yes. I forgot to ask Irma why he's going. His name is Chavo though, because his real name is Edgar. But that's for another time to ask.
Yeah, I know 101 comes from Tom Likas, because we became friends through being followers of Tom Likas.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, when we talked about it, it was just that you guys connected through the podcast, like your podcast, obviously, that you guys met. But actually, it was
Likas 101.
Wow. What do you mean, like through him though? Like, did you guys?
We were listeners of the show, and I followed him on Twitter. He followed me back. And
oh, through Twitter.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, baby, thank you so much for being on here. I love you when you're on here. It's always a great time. Time always flies, of course. I want you to be.
I love you when you're on me.
Whoa. Yes. I want you to come back regularly, my love.
Yeah.
My baby, my sweetheart.
I will come.
I want you to come. What? Okay. What? Let's not make this awkward for the listeners.
You know what Tom Segura's tour is called?
What?
I'm coming everywhere.
Oh, nice.
he started a Spanish podcast. All right.
There you go. Spanish podcast coming soon.
Go. Let's go.
Let's go, Raiders.
Let's go.
Bye, everyone.
Peace out.